from the Illegal Shift Studios in the basement of an undisclosed location. Coming to you once again from the Varsity Sports Bar and Grill.
Yeah, we got all kinds of shit going on here.
Now I'm hearing something in the background there.
We got all kinds of
Do
shit.
we have another one playing somewhere?
I don't know.
We're off to a great start.
We got all kinds of shit.
I love it is the One More I'm Out of Here podcast,
We're
everyone.
good. We're good now.
How you doing? Let me crack this open here. My first beer in this studio. It's a beautiful thing. I'm Dan Carroll. Welcome to the podcast. One More and I'm Out of Here. Jason, I love what you've done with the place.
Why, thank you.
I mean, it's warm, it's cozy. I thought we were going to be a lot closer together, but I've got my space. You've got your space. I think we're in good shape.
We have to make sure we keep our space separate. This is a little different.
It is a little different. Our viewers may notice that we are minus our buddy Rob Herking, who has he's had a little spell, so to speak, and he's not with us today. He is convalescing as we speak. Hopefully, after a procedure that was done today. But I don't know, Jason. Was it the Blue Chews?
It might
was it too many Blue Chews?
It might have been too. He overdosed on Blue Chews.
I mean, look, the people who watch the podcast, they know over the last couple of weeks, Rob has been really going above and beyond the call to try and get new sponsorship for the show. And Blue Chew, he was reaching out to them and really doing everything humanly possible to get them to sponsor the program. He might have gone a little bit overboard and consumed a few too many. I think the word is priapism.
Priapism, yep.
Priapism, which if you don't know what that means, it's a sustained erection, even without any stimulation whatsoever. And well, I mean, he took a few too many Blue Chews, and I mean, this was a massive, massive erection that lasted well over 3.5 minutes, and he just couldn't. I mean, it was such an unusual situation. He, didn't even call the doctor. Just said, "I need 911. Call me an ambulance." I mean, I've had a heart on here for more than 3 minutes. This is not right, and they're still doing tests.
Yeah. That was a great lead-in, actually. So, I'm actually impressed, shocked, all of it.
So I'm praying for my buddy Rob that he's going to be all right. He took one for the team, so to speak. So we may have to follow in his footsteps.
So Robbie is in the chats apparently. Sustained win with Danny. So I will give not too much medical information, but Rob sustained a couple seizures the other day, and we joke, but we're worried about him. But he's doing better. Trying to rule out everything. But when Danny wasn't able to be here, we did a podcast, and I got a phone call from Rob today. Are you really going to podcast without me? Yep. Show must go on. But if he's got his phone with him, so if he's in the chats, hopefully he's got his phone with him.
Was the hospital out of wheelchairs? He couldn't. I will ambulatory enough to make it here to the Illegal Shift Studio and join us. First time from this location, by the way. But for those of you that
we have a lot to unpack. I mean, we have a lot to unpack over the last 3 days outside of the news, just in our local news. But I was trying to figure out if Rob was calling me from the hospital room, because it's not as I was getting a phone call. I wasn't sure if Rob was calling from a hospital phone versus his cell phone.
Now, is your phone hooked up to the board? Will we be able to take calls?
Not yet. It will be. I didn't want to hook it up and then all of a sudden start getting a whole bunch of spam calls where it's going to pipe in. So,
but you are ready to hook it up at a moment's notice.
At a moment's notice.
Very good.
Ready to go. I got the volume. Well, the volume will be kind of set. I may have to tweak that a little bit. We'll see.
Very good. So Rob is not here today, and
he is sorely missed.
If we hear from him, it'll be great. If we don't, that'll be okay too. I
don't like doing it with not the three of us, but we do have to keep putting content out. So I'm hoping that Rob will text me on his phone and I can call him. But I told Rob I was going to do this. He's going to get mad. But this is what we were dealing with the other day. Where are we at here? Scary situation, it's not as scary at this point, but this is my view Wednesday evening. So Rob bit his tongue like probably 4 or 5 different fucking times. And when I went to see him at the hospital yesterday, I asked him, I said, "Did you have a stroke or seizures? Like, I can't tell." And he was like, "Fuck you." I was like, "All right, well, Rob's back. Rob's good. He's cognizant." And as he's posting, "Get me out of here."
You told me his tongue was swollen up, but it's so swollen he can't get it back into his pie hole. He can't get it back in his mouth. It's just hanging out there, and like bugs are landing on it, and his stuff falling off the ceiling, and he lands on his tongue.
He was able to eat on his own yesterday. I mean, he was sitting up eating, but it was, and that sucks. Like, I mean, I've been on a bunch of seizure runs, and I mean, there's nothing worse than biting your tongue, even just accidentally. But like when you do it, traumatically like that. So he's not talking as loud as he was as per normal. So I'm sure Erin, his saint of a wife, is loving that. So
saint is the correct way to describe her.
Yeah, yesterday
she is unbelievably special.
Yeah, yesterday in the hospital, he was hooked up to the EKG stuff. He had that little box, the little remote, Bluetooth box, whatever it is, and right when I got in there, he's like, "Am I laying on a box?" She's like, "Yeah." And so he rolls over and he's like, "Just get the fucking box." She was like, "If you snap at me again, I'm leaving." And knowing that Rob was back cognitively, he goes, "How many times do I have to snap before you leave?" I'm like, "All right, well, Rob's back. All right, so all was good."
Did they take away the blue chews?
I don't think he smuggled any in.
Okay, that's good.
I don't think so.
Did they do a body cavity search to make sure that?
No, but Rob said there's video of the first seizure that he had that he's trying to acquire.
Oh, my God.
And we are definitely going to play it. And I told him, I said, if you get too embarrassed when you see it, I will do a public records request and I will get the video. It will be put out at some point. But all right, we'll make sure he's out of the hospital and back home before we do any of that.
Well, we should have done this before we got started today. But I sent you 2 items this past Tuesday that we didn't use in the previous podcast, but I would like for him to use them today. One is a teacher. Did you get that one?
Yes.
Okay, you can look that one up and
working on it now.
And then there you have the other one. Right,
I got the other one.
Which
we were scrambling today, obviously doing it from a different location and everything being a little bit different.
Yeah, but we got to use both of them. But that link right there, it doesn't have a picture. We don't. The only problem with this one is we do not have a picture of her. But if you read down to the second stanza there, then you'll understand why I say this one has a bit of a twist.
All right. So which one do you want to hit first?
Let's talk. You like the Hot for Teacher one, so let's talk about Hot for Teacher.
So David J had sent me one. And let me get this ready. David J sent me this, and I said I was going to make a segment just because we were continuing to see this, the teachers fucking students.
Arrested in Texas near San Antonio.
Oh, Texas.
Haley Clifton Carmack worked at Lakeway High School in Pulaski County. She's now charged with having sex with a student. In early December, a school resource officer reported a witness came forward saying the teacher and a 16-year-old student were in a relationship. Investigators then went to the high school and took Clifton Carmack's phone. The superintendent for the district told KY3 she hadn't been at the school since December and did not expect her to return. Another man, Mark Creighton, is also charged in this case because detectives say he knew about this relationship and did not report it.
It was the kid's dad. The kid's dad knew that he was railing a teacher, and he ends up getting hooked up with a charge as well.
Well, this that's similar to this. This one's out of West Monroe, Louisiana. So this was a 32-year-old teacher at West Monroe High School in West Monroe, Louisiana. Allegedly was sexting and molesting a 15-year-old. Let's see. Then there's this one, a 26-year-old woman in Missouri.
Yeah, I screwed it up.
Okay,
because I had two things.
So this one, okay, you know what they on this story? I think they put both of these together. because they said, what's worse? His dad apparently knew about it and greenlighted the relationship.
And then gross.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure any teenage kid is not going to say, "Oh, that's gross."
What was that teacher's name in the one you just had?
Oh shit, I don't know. I don't remember.
All right. This one says, but on top of being a nasty perv, it turns out Clifton Carmack is also supremely stupid, having not thought through.
That's one in Texas. That's one we just did.
Yeah, her brilliant plan of having teenagers watch her back while she got busy with the students. So she tells these other kids, "Hey, keep an eye on the hallway.
Watch the door
while I bang your buddy over here.
Watch the door." It's amazing. And yeah, we had like a couple weeks where it was like boom, 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 and then it was a little bit of a lull. And then David J sent me that one. You sent me Tuesday this one. It's absolutely amazing to me that and we've said it before, that if you're in school and one of your buddies is railing a good looking teacher, I mean, if it's a wildebeest, then I'm definitely throwing a flag. But if it's a hot teacher, I'm not saying a fucking word.
But is sex with a 15-year-old so good that you can't keep your panties on, ladies? I mean, I guess that's my question. 15 years old, 16 years old. I mean, are these guys really bringing it that well that you gotta?
I'm gonna say no because I'm still trying to figure it out at 44. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, that all seems well and good, but I mean, it's almost like a soap bottle, 2 pumps and a squirt, you're done. And then it's like, all right, so now do I go to the cafeteria for my lunch period, or am I going to study hall? Where am I going? So it definitely it's ironic just talking to my buddies that I went to high school with. They're like, dude, could you imagine if I'm just going to throw a name, Mrs. Brown? If such and such was bagging Mrs. Brown, can you imagine how that would be? And I'd be like, well, you would narc. You would narc. You would narc.
Well, we're not the first ones to kick this subject around. I mean, this has been the topic of conversation many, many, many times around the bars where we hang out.
And we're seeing it more and more, which just, I mean, it cracks me up because we have these kids, they're going through puberty. They've gotten through puberty. They're the cock of the walk at school, no pun intended, star quarterback, whatever. And then it's almost like Varsity Blues all over again, where then they go see the teacher at the strip club.
See the teacher.
So that headline hot for teacher was perfect. Oh, we got dead leg in the house.
Still one of the greatest videos of all time.
Yes, I agree.
Well,
by the way, I didn't tell you this before, and Rob, I think, is still in the chats. I'm not sure. So we had to move to a different location because unfortunately the varsity had to close its doors very suddenly, and it's very unfortunate. So we will be. We got
very sad. I mean that's like 2 major blows in 1 week.
We've got two fronts though. Our buddy, who actually ironically just posted, Coy Neely, has offered up his man cave for a podcast studio. So we may be utilizing that once Rob's on the mend, and because this room's definitely not big enough for a 3. This is we're already crammed in.
Look
here.
At this space. Look at all the room we have here.
I feel claustrophobic.
I mean, come on, man. The space is fantastic.
I feel claustrophobic.
You've done a beautiful job with it.
Why, thank you. But so the varsity closed the door, so we're doing this special edition episode, as Rob or as Dan would say, this special edition from the Illegal Shift Studio. But Coy Neely was nice enough to give us a spot, and that was between Rob being in the hospital, the varsity shutting its doors. The questions I were getting, how was Rob, first and foremost? So my phone literally was on fire yesterday. I mean, it literally was hot.
I can't imagine all the texts and phone calls and messages you were fielding.
Hot to the touch. And I was
over the last 48 hours.
And I was trying to field a lot for Erin so she could just, sit with Rob and figure that out, and then I could just pass stuff along. But so between that and the varsity, and they're like, well, where are you going to do the podcast at? I'm like, well, that's a good question. We'll have to figure that out. Well, Coy came to the rescue and gave us an option
That's very cool. Coy, we appreciate that.
So we'll see how that works out. But then also we've got on January 19th our live event that we had with Jim Serger and his book release. That obviously was in peril for about 12 hours. And we have secured another location to be able to do that live podcast. So that will be going on as scheduled.
If the varsity does not reopen its doors, is that still a possibility that
I don't believe so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe so.
See, that's an update I didn't have.
I can't speak complete fact and truth, but I don't think so. And especially probably not by the 19th. So we had something scheduled and we talked to our friends at APG right next door today, and we have secured that. So I need to let Mr. Serger know that we are good to go.
All right. Well, that's good.
So we were in damage control, just like everybody else at the varsity was in damage control, and us with Rob in damage control. So it's been a week.
All right.
It's been a fucking week.
Well, if Rob's not going to call in now, why don't we go ahead and call our guest that we're going to have for today, our buddy Andrew Pappas, who has been on the program many times, and he'll have some interesting thoughts about Rob, I'm sure. But it's always great. The thing I love about Pappas is you can throw anything at him, and he's ready and able to respond. So he knows we're going to be calling. We'll see what happens when he gets on the phone with us.
Let me make sure we got everything set.
Got to make sure and all the buttons are pressed. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh shit! First ring.
This is the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Who's this? Go ahead, caller. You're on the podcast.
Hey, first time, long time. I just wanted to let you guys know I think you're great, and I love everything that you say on the radio. It's fantastic.
Andrew Pappas. Never heard of her.
First time. She, her.
Sorry, I should have asked what the pronoun was.
Do you have new pronouns now?
Wait, listen. Wait, damn it. God damn it.
He's trying to play his walk-up music. We're going to hear a little Romeo Void?
To avoid it.
Come on now.
I think I'm looking at Rob's comment.
This was a professional podcast until this guy showed up.
I think Rob's still not completely right. He said pikes of shit instead of piles of shit.
Wait. So Herking is conscious and listening?
He is in the chats.
Well, I'm kind of miffed. Could you chat him that I sent him a very touching and very poignant, look it up, message about his illness? And I was, his under the weatheredness. And the least he could have done is respond and say, hey, thank you for your concern or whatever. He didn't say anything.
Well, the fact that enamors you, that enamors me. Come on now,
Well, I mean, look, I reached deep, very deep into my soul and found into a black pit of tar and found what was left of my soul to wish him well, and he didn't even bother responding. I take great offense. Tell him I retract everything I said. Nice in that message.
And see, here I was thinking you two were friends. My mistake.
Well, I am, but you know what? I was friends up until when he stiffed me, and once he stiffed me, I said, "Forget it. That's it."
Well,
hey, Greg, get my dogs out. Go ahead.
Why don't you handle your sterile podcasting environment? Get that dog out of there.
Well, sterile. Listen, let me tell you something.
We know you're sterile. We already know you're sterile.
There's so many places to go with that. I'm not even going to bother.
You're absolutely correct.
Where is have you made the announcement as to where the new Bat Cave is for One More and I'm Out of Here?
We just did actually. Coy Nailey is going to let us use his man cave for a period of time.
Excellent.
Which is an adult wonderland. Arcade games, poker tables, all the shit.
We could do one from the back of the Pappas ambulance.
Yeah, we could. Well, he got rid of it.
Is probably, I think it's down in Kentucky being used as a mobile meth lab right now, but I'm not sure.
Herking,
revenue stream is a revenue stream.
Herking just made a statement in the chats. He said that's because he doesn't have his glasses and he cannot see what he is writing and he is guessing.
Well, I was going to say that it is an honor to try to be on here because Rob has left large shoes to fill, but I have seen his shoes and they're not that big and his hands are quite small too. So I can't say that. So I'm trying to think what I can say that there's large to fill. And honestly, I'm coming up with a blank here.
You're at a loss.
We told all the listeners at the top of the program that it was a priapism. And he overdid it on the blue chews. Had an erection that lasted in excess of 3.5 minutes, and it was
nobody noticed.
Such an unusual occurrence. He felt the need to get medical attention right away.
He got lightheaded. It was over. It was over 3 minutes, and he's not used to that.
That's right. That's exactly what happened.
This is the greatest. He's sitting there listening to this, and we're just beating him senseless. This is fantastic.
Well, if I were in a hospital, Rob and Dan would be doing the same to me, and then Dan wasn't here. We gave Dan a bunch of grief because he wasn't on. So turnabout is fair play.
Well, I mean, is it possible that we can call the hospital and see if it's time for his colonoscopy, or order some sort of test that he doesn't need?
Order some extremely invasive procedure.
Something invasive.
I'm gonna try something.
No,
you just keep talking.
Oh, Jason! It looks like Jason's gonna try and
time for the sponge bath, Mr. Herking. Well, you need a little sponge though, so it's okay.
Yeah. With Gino, the male nurse.
We're trying to call Rob.
Oh, this might be epic if we can conference this in. Are you hearing the phone ring there, Andrew?
What's up,
Robert?
Oh my God!
Yes, back from the dead, bitches.
How are you even able to talk with your tongue all swollen
Fuck
up?
out of here! Get me the fuck out of here!
Oh, there he is. There he is. We're piped him in.
Wow.
Mr. Herking.
I am vertical right now, and I am ready for transport. When you guys come up here and get me, Pappas, you're the Jewish-looking one. Come on up.
How's the catheter going, buddy?
There's no cats in here.
You sure?
Rob, your text message to me today was absolutely hysterical. Come get me out of here. They're mean. They did a spinal tap on me.
They did.
Bastard. Hey, Rob, did the transition take, or is it waiting?
Well, it wasn't outie for a little bit. Now it's going back in.
Because I heard that what happened was you heard they were going to override the governor's veto, and you wanted to get in under the gun and get it done quickly.
So the way this is
before you had to leave the state.
Well, he doesn't know. What the wine doesn't know, he can't whine about.
Well, Rob,
I almost feel bad making fun of you in your weakened state, but you know what? I'll get over it.
It's fitting. It's fine.
I can only hope it hurts to laugh.
Hey, Robert.
It does.
Robert, tell our listeners how you're feeling. That way they know, and I'm not making anything up. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling stir crazy, man. I am tired of being here. What is it? Friday? I've been in the hospital since Wednesday. When I hit the ground in the courthouse, in the courtroom, Wednesday morning. So I've been kind of shopping back and forth. And then that insult to injury, I decided to have another seizure because I wasn't done. Rah, team at home. So I had to have a paramedic come to my house, which is great. And all the gawking neighbors.
Were you naked?
No, I was. I don't think I was. I don't know. I'm not asking that question. I'm still sitting here. I can't do anything about it right now.
He was actually in his underwear and his undershirt. I know that for a fact.
Whoa!
Do we have video? Did you live stream that? Did you do this live?
Fucking video.
I said earlier, Rob is getting the video from the courthouse, and we are going to play it at some point.
I am going to get that video. I do want to see myself having a seizure. It's kind of weird.
Be awesome.
Never had one before. It's my first seizure.
Hey, do you remember?
Maybe you can get Jim Surger to write a book about it.
You remember anything, or did you kind of black out?
No, I remember what is going to happen right before it happens, and then once I fully go into the color scheme in my eyes, I don't remember shit.
Speaking of shit, do you lose all control, or is it something
No,
you don't want to talk about?
I am very controlled, Peppers. I am glad you are concerned about that. I was
Well, I
too.
just wanted to know. I mean, we could get.
I was kind of hoping the podcast wouldn't go this direction, but here we
That's
are.
all right. You put me on the air. What I was thinking is, we could do a fundraiser, and the pens are kind of expensive, so maybe we could buy you if you need. We can see if P&G wants to make a donation. I'm not sure what size you're wearing these days, but
I think the cheapest depends we can do is it depends if Pappas is back on the podcast.
so what you heard, I guess
that?
what happened was you heard I was going to be on, and you levitated from the hospital bed, and you were like, no.
I have been sitting in this hospital room wanting to get the hell out of here. Everybody that comes, like, please tell me you're getting me out. Nope.
So you're not on your way out today. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's only 5:29, Pappas.
Don't you have to provide a stool sample first before they let you go?
No, I don't have to provide a stool sample, man.
I
That's
think
for
they
old
take that.
people.
I think that if he doesn't provide it, they just remove it.
That's for old people like Dan.
They use a spork. They just go and get it with a spork.
Ooh, that kind of sounds good. Kind of like
Where's the Cola Guard people when you need them?
Yeah, no
There's
doubt.
good.
Cola Guard. Don't knock that. That's the greatest thing ever.
My guess, Robbie, is I think you have another hotel stay in your future. That is my guess. I could be wrong, but
I'm hoping not, but if it happens, it better happen quick, and it better be an early discharge.
you are severely missed, my man.
A phrase you're oddly familiar with.
If they're gonna hook any shit up to me, they better do it now, man, because we're going against medical advice probably here soon.
He's going AMA from the hospital.
I can tell you this: you're not missing anything. The weather outside's atrocious. It's going to drop. It's raining. It's miserable. What are you going to do? I mean, you got a TV, you got hot chow, you got a bed that moves, like goes up and down. I mean, come on. What are you missing? Just hang out for a while.
I am so bored. And they got commercial TV, Pappas.
They don't
I
have
mean, this
cable?
is so 1980s.
Why didn't Aaron
Well, it's not like you can go hang out with the varsity.
and bring an iPad or something?
I can find places.
Oh, Rob's got skills. He's got places. Well, sounds like
He's got
you're
places.
going to be hanging out at El Hospital for a while. So you might as well just get comfy.
I probably will. And here's what I'm going to do because my tongue talk hurts like a son of a bitch.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to listen offline to your answer. Pappas, I do have one question for you.
Is it real? Yes, it's real. Go ahead. What's your second question?
Let me know how
Not a
it felt
pathetic.
to be on the podcast one final time. Thank you. I'll listen off air.
Wait, is this my last time? Is that what he's saying?
Well, that's what he's saying.
But he's only one vote. So
That-
what difference does it make? And he's on drugs right
That
That's
vote
correct.
that vote can be overridden.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
probably under the influence of some type of medication, so that would not be a legal binding statement. So
That's right. He knows that. And we just ordered a double catheter. So there he goes.
Okay.
it just so happens that I
Yeah.
know some docs that work at Jewish.
Oh, do they have big knuckles?
You know.
Oh, they may or may not have won 7 Super Bowls.
Oh my! That's gonna leave a mark.
No,
Hey Rob,
I'm-
get well soon, buddy. We really miss you. But hey,
I was gonna say I don't feel that was heartfelt.
Well,
it's not. But,
so it's the double catheter and the enema special, and he'll be good to go.
Oh, he'll be clean as a whistle when he gets out of there.
you know what? You got to start somewhere. So let's just start at the bottom and work our way up. I mean, let's go where his brain usually is and start in the old culo and work our way up to that.
Rob, you've lost so much weight. You've been hitting the gym. You
He's like,
never
no,
look better.
No, it's a 4-day hospital stay. That's what'll get you there.
Poor guy. I mean, I feel bad. He's over there laughing, and it hurts to laugh, and we're making fun of him and making him talk. I mean, this is like shooting fish in a barrel.
That's why he had to hang up. He couldn't stand the pressure.
I'm glad he's doing better. And I knew as soon as he was staying overnight one night, I knew this was going to be a nightmare for Aaron. And so I just want to say, Aaron, You are sainthood. We
God
love you.
bless her.
That's because he's not easy to deal with outside of the hospital, let alone being a fucking patient. Because I saw it firsthand.
Well, do you want to tell us like the room number so we can do a drive-by, or is that just something we can't know? We should probably just leave that unknown.
5527 Jewish Hospital, Kenwood.
Wow.
Wow.
He would love all of the visitors.
All two. Everybody call her. Call her free.
Should I put his cell phone number on?
Oh, that would be epic. I think you should put his cell phone number out there. Say text Rob well wishes.
He'd get no sleep.
Just let me go on record now saying that anything like this ever happens to me, I don't want any visitors in the hospital.
No, please.
Absolutely not.
We're going to be there. We have a vigil outside. Are you kidding me?
Well, you can vigil outside all you want. I just don't want you in my room.
It's going to be like the courthouse downtown. We're going to be holding signs up saying, have you ever driven downtown and seen when someone has a
birthday? You're going to get your vagina hat and march outside?
God, it's been a long time since I've seen those. Where are they? Those might make an appearance if Senor Trump wins the election again.
Well, yeah, I mean, Madonna's going to go dust hers off, and all the other.
Wait a second, Madonna probably has to dust hers off every day.
Probably.
So, wait, are we talking about her hat? I'm sorry. What are we talking about? Sorry.
So, Andrew, how's everything? How's everything been in Anderson Township since we had the school board, the new school board come in? Have the Flabians been busy? What's happening on that front?
Well, honestly, it's a good question. The Flabians are doing whatever it is that they do. But I will say that we had so when I decided not to run again and I left office, I went to trustee meetings, but I sat quiet as a church mouse in the back, and I really didn't disrupt the meetings too terribly bad, and I didn't do anything untoward towards the respect for the office. However, I will say that at the first school board meeting with the new board, and it was simply an organizational meeting, it wasn't even a meeting they were electing officers. The former school board member, Dr. Rasmussen, decided to show up with some of her Flabian cohorts, and were causing such a disruption that they asked them to either behave or leave, and one of them actually got up and left. So breaking all former decorum and etiquette, this is the direction, I guess, that the liberals in Anderson, I guess they feel empowered that they now have two liberals on the board, are going to take and be just disruptive and disrespectful, not only to the people holding office, but to the general board, the idea of the board in general.
Well, even when we win, and I'll use my air quotes here, win elections, they're still not satisfied. They're never satisfied. Enough is never enough. And
there's a hole in their soul that they've been seeking to fill that is unfillable, and that's what drives them to be.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a happiness they can't find in their own personal lives. So I guess they figure if they bring everyone else down to their level of misery, by comparison, they will seem happy. I'm not sure. Boy, that was deep. But I mean, I got to tell you that I mean, the disrespect of showing up and cackling and breaking up, and to the point where you had to be asked to, either behave, be quiet, or leave, is something I find abhorrent. And anyone that, respects even the decency of public decorum should agree with that. But, the left, as you well know, and everybody knows that, the rules and the end don't matter. It's the ends justify the means. So the means don't matter. It's whatever your ends are, and that's what they do. And they've done it constantly, so I'm not surprised. I hope it ends. I know Dr. Rasmussen, I'm using the doctor in quotes, but I know that Dr. Rasmussen has a lot going on in her life right now and might want to concentrate on that rather than just going and being a thorn in the side of the duly elected board that she's no longer a part of.
Hey, can you give the definition of Flabians again, please?
Well, it's a term that I cannot take credit for, as we've discussed on other shows, but it stands for far left Anderson we'll say bunch, but you can use whatever B word you want to put in there right now. I mean, it can be whatever. And I didn't think of the term. I didn't coin the term, and it's actually we're mispronouncing it. It's more Flabians, and it could be it just is it's a fitting term, if you will.
Well, then who gets the credit for coining that then?
Well,
or do you want to say?
Utter. No, yeah, Beth Utter came up with that term on
Beautiful.
her own, and she had a couple of other ones that I probably should refrain from using acronyms that were kind of we want to keep it semi-clean, but no, Beth is a clever girl, and the funny thing about Beth is she used to be a member of the Democrats here in Anderson Township, but because she's not a member of the groupthink that you must have to be a loyal and orthodox member of the Democrat Party, and if you show any amount of independent thought, then they ostracize you from their group. And her eyes were opened as to the fact that if you don't carry the water per se and preach the gospel of the Democrat Party, then you're not welcome. And they turned on her, and they really treated her quite badly, to the point that her eyes were opened. And I wouldn't say Beth is a card-carrying member of the Tea Party, but I will say that she's had her eyes opened, and she's like, I cannot believe these people that used to be my friends treated me this way, just because she dared to have independent thought and be friends with people that weren't necessarily wildly liberal.
Isn't that strange though, to have independent thought? You have independent thought, and somebody thinks you're fucking weird.
Well, I mean, look,
idiots is where I was going with that.
Those on the left don't want anyone to have independent thought. All they want are the people who think like them, is to parrot what they tell them to parrot.
Right. Absolutely.
No question. And the funniest thing of all is that, and people ask all the time, how come the Democrats are either, so well organized or working together so well, and Republicans tend to maybe be more independent? It's exactly that. The reason that, for the most part, the Democrat Party benefits from having people that love to follow the herd. Okay. The group is marching this way, so they'll all march that way, because independent thought is frowned upon and squashed. So the herd, the mindset, the groupthink, as it were, rules the day, and they go marching towards whatever cause du jour they have. That's fridge. And so
thanks, Andrew, appreciate that.
You're
welcome. And every day.
Tell you what, man, podcast elevating the podcast, isn't he?
A little bilingualism, if it was. And
he's not even in the room and thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, it's flowing over the air. I mean, I don't have to be in the room, but anyway,
he's the smartest guy in the room he's in right now.
We could turn on the video camera and just check all the boxes. But here's the deal: the fact of the matter is, if you put 10 Democrats in a room, and give them a task per se, all the little worker bees, if you ever seen Brave New Worlds, I'm going to call them deltas, but they'll work on the task, or at least row in the same direction. But Republicans are definitely much more entrepreneurial and independent minded. And if you've heard the term "too many chiefs," right? And if we can still say that in today's world, I don't know what will we say. I don't mean to be,
that's five demerits for you, by the way.
Politically incorrect.
We're going to get shadow banned anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
But my point here is that that's exactly what the struggle with the Republican Party is. Sometimes people are like, well, why are we doing it this way? Let's do it this way. Or why are we doing this? Let's do that. And it's difficult on our side because we are by nature independent thinkers and entrepreneurial. And that's what leads to sometimes the frustration on the Republican part of, sometimes if you maybe don't get your way or don't get every goal that you want, you pick up your toys, you go home. You've heard the term many times. I'm not voting for them anymore. Blah 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 blah. You don't see that on the Democrat side. No matter what, they always focus on. They're. I'm not going to use the word simple or minded, but I will say that they definitely all pull in the same direction because they're not as independent and entrepreneurial thinking as a Republican is. And I'll stand by that statement. I don't mean it to be offensive. It might offend some.
Well, I'm sure it will. But yeah, you standing behind it, though, that's what matters. I mean, yeah, you're allowed to be offended. You are allowed to be offended.
Well, me breathing offends half the liberals in Hamilton County, if not all of them.
That guy's still drawing breath? Well, come on. God damn it. I'm going to call the news.
Yeah, let me call the breaking news. I thought, you see the breaking news. Did you guys see the breaking news that was being parroted by all the Cincinnati news organizations yesterday on social? It was that the streetcar broke record ridership.
Oh, for God's sake!
I was like, it's free. hello. Anyone? I was like, so how's the revenue going? Well, that's not the point. It broke record ridership. Now,
yeah. Compared to what? Compared to zero. Yeah, that is congratulations.
It's a bunch of fucking homeless people that fucking go in there and jerk off and fucking smoke crack.
They try to stay warm. But I mean, here's the deal. The ridership is still woefully short of the goals or the expectations or projections that they originally made when it was even that it was going to be charged. So ergo, it's breaking. And I mean, if you notice, they all came out with the story the same day. I mean, that's
not amazing. Day. Not amazing how that works.
Yeah,
they all wind up singing from the same playbook.
And they all said the same thing. The business courier, even the business courier, which I was somebody commented, they go, well, if the business courier would make their page free, I'm sure they'd have record, or their publication free. I bet you they'd have record distribution.
No, I don't think so.
The same thing.
No, I don't.
That's not the same thing. Well, for them, their distribution would double. It would grow by maybe 100%. So maybe 10 people would.
Well, you think homeless derelicts are going to wander into the library and dial up the business courier page?
I'm just saying.
I don't think so.
It's funny how the liberal press, and I'll use that term because it's funny how they get their marching orders or their direction, and they all go marching down the same road, and it just drives me crazy after a while. But whatever, it's fine.
But Andrew, I was doing the Bill Cunningham show today, and there was a story on the news about
you didn't call me.
What's that?
Didn't call me to be on the air?
Not today.
You're on the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, Andrew. I mean, settle the fuck down.
Isn't enough? I mean, really.
Back down, buddy. Settle down.
We know you love to hear your own voice. We know that.
But there was a story on the news today, and it had to do with the Milford School Board. And it was a story about some guy that was that ran for elected, and he didn't get elected, and he showed up at the meeting, and he was being disruptive. And I was thinking to myself, this could be any township, any small ville, here in Hamilton County, anywhere in Southwest Ohio. And I was thinking to myself, for some of these people who engage in this sort of activity and want to, make some kind of a name or think they're making a name for themselves. I mean, that must be the holy grail for them, is to get themselves in the local newspaper, on local television, on local radio, and all these shenanigans that they engage in. It doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't help anyone get from point A to point B. All it does is it's self-aggrandizement for themselves. So they can make a social media clip and say, hey, look at me. I was over here. Or listen to this clip from the radio. They were talking about me on the news. And it doesn't amount to anything more than that. So when it comes to local politics, you win, you lose. I mean, for whatever. Why can't you just be a good sport about it? I didn't win this time around. Maybe someone who thinks like me will win next time around. And instead of engaging in all this nonsense and try to really, because locally should have more impact on our lives than anything that happens in Washington, D.C. or Columbus, Ohio. And for these people to act like this is just a monumental waste of time. And again, it doesn't serve anyone well.
And that's exactly what I tell like all my younger firemen that are coming in. I remember, well, are you voting for Trump? Are you voting for Trump? I said, who'd you vote for the school board? Who'd you vote for Senate? what governor did you vote for? Like it starts small.
Yeah.
You have
Township
to
trustee.
You have
Yeah.
to start small at trustee, school board, all of that shit. Before, I mean, we all know the president's a fucking figurehead, and our president currently is just a fucking puppet, and we all know that.
That's actually offensive to puppets, but go ahead.
But it's like you have to start small. So like we bring on, even though we have people that are in the live chats that are in Minnesota, California, anywhere else. I mean, do they really give a shit about Anderson Township stuff? No, but we talk about it because wherever you're at, you need to be involved in your local shit, because those are the people that end up slowly making their way up, to go to Senate. Brad Wenstrup didn't just, jump right into where he was at. He started small and moved up and just like everyone else, but you have to get educated. You have to get educated, and you're not going to agree with everybody, and everybody's not going to agree with you.
You're exactly right in this perspective. For 8 years I was a trustee, and I enjoyed my tenure, and I did my duty, and then I just said, you know what, that's enough. Let somebody else do it. But I always said that, everyone's like, oh, trustee, blah, 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 compared to school board. I was like, look, the more important, and I'll be honest with you, what's going to affect your kids for sure, and your local community more than a trustee, really, to a large degree, is a race such as a school board race. Who controls your school board? Because, this is the stuff when your kid comes home from school every day and says, well, we studied this or we studied that. That's stuff that hits your life. I mean, your family, you're right there in your house. And you better know who your school board members are. And more importantly than that, I would say, make an effort to get involved with your school at some level, whether you go attend school board meetings, get involved in the PTOs, and you go and you attend these meetings. Get to know the people that are involved with it, and you become one of them, or else what you will find, because I'll tell you straight up, the liberals figured out that it starts locally, and they're involved. And if you don't let your voice be heard, that you don't think it's appropriate for boys to compete in girls' sports at your school, or boys that may identify as girls to be in the female locker rooms, it's going to happen sooner than you think. And you're going to then wonder, how did this happen? And you're going to have no one to look at but yourself in the mirror for saying, I was too busy, I didn't get involved. And don't think, my point to this is, don't ever discount those people that are involved at the school board level, your precinct executive level. That's where it starts. It's local. Just like you said, I mean, if you fix local, what happens is you fix your region, you fix your state, you fix your state. Eventually, you fix enough of them, you'll fix the country. Trying to fix the country all at one time and on a national basis is a big bite to take, but you take it in smaller bites. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you start local, you start small, and things will fix themselves. So I encourage everybody that's, may consider themselves not necessarily conservative, but independent or independent minded. Get involved with your schools. Don't ignore it, and get involved with your PTOs and go from there. And that's how we find good people through that process to work their way up into other offices, whether it be trustee, whether it be Congress, whether it be Senate, whatever. But never ever discount the good work that the people at those levels do, because man, they affect your bedroom values a lot more than other people do higher up the chain.
Yeah. And then the thing is,
God, that was really, hold on a second. That was really deep.
You should have recorded
someone
that.
should make a recording of that. But
if that was recorded, I would play that back constantly. I don't know if it's the dulcet tones, or is it the deep voice? I'm not sure what it is, but that moved me.
Everything I heard sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher was wah, 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 wah.
I think Rob has looked down and something moved. I think Rob, did it move, Rob?
Something moved.
Has it moved, Rob?
he might be going back in the hospital because it hasn't moved.
He wants to get the transition.
Oh my God. This is the best 3.5 minutes of my life.
That's what she said.
All right. So and you look at some of the bullshit that's going on. So like, up in New York where they push kids out of a school
Oh,
to make room for fucking illegal immigrants because there was going to be a lot of rain, and they push kids back home to do homeschooling. And if you need a teacher, we'll make an appointment. But we're allowing these our governments.
No, that's a local issue, man. They elected and they'll fix that locally. But you get, to be fair, you get the government you elect. So if you elect a bunch of radical leftists at the local level, New York, Chicago, LA, California, you're going to deal with the ramifications of that. And you know what? You'll have no one. I hope New Yorkers realize that they might be upset, and rightfully so. Don't misunderstand me. But you know what? Guess who's to blame? Go look in the mirror. You elected this stuff, and this is exactly what you get. For example, there is a bill. The governor, your governor, vetoed a bill to protect children here last week or 2 weeks ago. And his logic was completely and utterly flawed, which made no sense to me, but that's not the first time. But for example, sit there and you knew that you elected him. So, I mean, you kind of expect, you get the government you deserve. But because you did do a good job with some of your state reps, sadly, ours voted against overriding his veto. And since the legislature is largely conservative, Republican, they now took the first step and they're overriding the governor's veto. And they're going to protect women and children from this transgender agenda. And that's the point of electing, getting the government you deserve. If not for you electing those good conservative representatives across the state, this veto would have been left to stand, and children would have been less protected than they will be once this veto is overturned. Just like in New York, you elect the radical leftists that think it's okay to kick kids out of school because they became, I find it humorous. And I was probably the only elected official when Cincinnati, most people don't remember, when Cincinnati voted to declare themselves a sanctuary city. I went to City Hall and I spoke during their proceedings.
That was John Cranley, wasn't it, when Cranley was mayor?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was.
All I saw was the top of his head, so it must have been him. So, but at the end of the day, sorry, John, that was a joke. Come on, lighten up. It was just a joke. But here's the deal. He said, he said, "Oh, you're a trustee," and he knew who I was, and he thanked me for coming. But I was like, guys, be careful. Words have meanings, just like New York and these cities. Well, why are you sending these illegals here? You're the one that said you're a sanctuary city. And I'm like, I'm not sure you know what that word means from the movie, The Princess Bride. You keep using this word. But I mean, dude, you called yourself a sanctuary city and you're surprised that these people are showing up to your city and overloading your welfare systems? I mean, come on. Give me a break. What do you expect? And it's not, I love aren't you amazed at the hypocrisy of it? How dare you send these illegals to my city? But it's okay for the federal government to let tens of thousands and millions of them across the border and overrun Texas. Why? Oh, I get it. You don't live in Texas, so it doesn't affect you. But now that it affects you, suddenly you're offended? Well, give me a break. Fuck off. Now see what the rest of the country's dealing with.
So, well, that's what the Biden administration is saying to the mayor of New York and the mayor of Chicago and some of these other cities across the country. They're saying, look, it's your problem, not ours.
The federal government. I heard that Jean Lapierre. What the hell's her name? Jean Lapierre.
Corinne Jean Pierre.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, whatever.
Hey, show some respect. She's the first Black lesbian speaker or press secretary for the president of the United States.
She's completely incompetent.
I call her an idiot that can't answer a question.
Correct. But I mean, here's the deal. So she said something, so Texas deployed these buoys in the Rio Grande that have that have razor wire on them. You know what she said?
She called them bayous. She was reading, Andrew, I played this on the air. she was
She really
reading.
called them bayous because she couldn't tell the word.
She can't pronounce the word buoy. And then look at the way it's spelled,
Right.
and she pronounced it. And then Texas got these bayous in the middle of the river. I'm thinking, what the fuck is a bayou in the middle of the river? And I was saying, she meant buoy. She can't pronounce the word. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's qualified to hold the position. My point is, she went on and on about how the razor wire. The reason the Biden administration was demanding or sued for having removed is because it was a danger to the border patrol. They could get cut on that.
What a bunch of shit.
A deterrent. It wasn't a deterrent to the illegal aliens coming across the river. That wasn't mentioned. It was a hazard. It could have been a hazard if one of the agents had cut themselves on the Constantino wire.
Pretty sure those guys are trained well enough to know, hey, don't touch that.
Hey, guys, remember the same administration had no problem throwing these border patrol agents under the bus. Remember when they accused them of whipping the illegals with the horse whip?
Yeah,
the horse,
never happened.
Never happened. See, but American public won't remember
but they punished them anyway.
Oh, sure.
They disciplined them anyway.
Well, you have to do something. You have to do something so that way somebody sees results.
Look how much coming out of DC is shown not only to be, wrong, but just flat out lies. I mean, they asked Fauci, who personally I think should be in prison. They asked him yesterday, where did you come up with the 6 feet? Where did the 6 feet rule come from? I don't know. I have no idea. There's no scientific bit. I have no idea. Remember how the
just sounded good. Just sounded good. Yeah.
Remember how the mask holes, they put paint, they put tape down. Remember the people 6 feet, maintain 6 feet. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I saw somebody today. I saw a lady today. I was driving today. There's a lady pulled up next to me. Swear to God, minivan by herself with a mask on.
Yeah, stupid.
Well, Andrew, I don't know.
And I sneezed.
I don't know if you heard this story about the border, but today there's a park in Eagle Pass, Texas, and I guess the illegals have been using this park as an entry point, and so you've got the Texas National Guard that went into to close this border area where these illegals are coming across. The federal government sent ICE agents in to remove National Guard members who were protecting this border. Thankfully, the ICE agents said, we're not going to engage in this any further. So think about that. You've got Texas National Guard troops on the border trying to protect Texas citizens. Here come the feds.
No, wait, Dan, hold on. Not just Texas citizens, because those people don't stay in Texas.
Well, yeah, I know,
but they're primarily, firstly, Texas citizens, sure, but the border and the rest of us and the country.
But think about how fucked up that situation is, where you have National Guard troops who are being confronted by federal troops.
Yeah,
no question.
And you've got a Texas standoff going on. And I mean, if someone pulls a trigger or something, I mean, what happens then? I mean, it's the most dangerous situation. And thank God the guys on the ICE side said, we are not pushing this any. They're essentially obeying or direct orders, but they said we're not pushing this any further because they recognize how dangerous that situation is.
Dan, do you not recognize how much nicer Twitter is? I mean, why are you focusing on that? I mean, Twitter, there's no mean tweets out there anymore.
Oh, for God's
sake. The world is a nicer place. I mean, your country's going down the toilet, but Dan, remember the mean tweets? I mean, do you remember?
I do remember.
How that upset so many people. And
I remember gas at $2 a gallon. I remember no wars in the Middle East. I remember economic prosperity. Yeah, I remember
low interest rates.
Low interest rates. Yeah, I remember families being able to afford a mortgage and go to school and take vacations and all that sort of stuff. I remember that. Yeah,
and it's exactly what I put. And I know you're just on the phone, but I posted some of the comments up on our YouTube. But I do have a local question from somebody that wants answers from a former trustee talking about our local stuff, but.
I played the fifth.
Well,
what's the question?
But no, I think it's a very good question, and it affects us. So can we ever expect any kind of economic development in Anderson like they've seen in Eastgate for the last decade? Seems like more and more closings in Anderson, and through Anderson in there, and only
Well, I mean,
small
the
nail
owners-
salons
the owners-
opening here.
the-
So
wait a second. The owners of Eastgate Mall would probably argue with that assessment of Eastgate versus Anderson. I will say that there've been some unique opportunities in Eastgate, but I mean I don't know if and first, thanks for the question. Eastgate has some, there's a lot of fundamental differences between Eastgate and that part of Claremont County and Anderson Township. I don't know if most people are aware that if you work in that, that area is taxed. And if you work there, you're paying an income tax in that area of Eastgate.
okay.
So there's a Jed Z there.
I
And
didn't
a lot
know
of people don't necessarily, well, so you didn't know
There
that.
you go.
Now you know.
Now I know.
I mean, but
Joint-
the owners of
Joint
what are these-
economic district, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's a joint. Yes, and it's a JED is a form of, it's a tax that a township used to be able to levy. It's much more difficult now. And on the earnings tax, it's an earnings tax, and we don't do that. We have none in Anderson. If you were going to develop first of all, Eastgate Mall, I think you would look at it today. I don't know that you could call it an economic success. It's language, it's now been purchased. They've had a couple of meetings, decide what to do with it. The prior owners probably took a pretty big bath on it, so they lost a bunch of money. Where would you put a development like that in Anderson Township? We don't have the land for it.
Right.
I mean, we have, when I was a trustee, we heard that we needed different types of housing options. We had the first apartment complex over at Stonegate came that was remodeled, and then a new portion of it was open in probably 20 years, and it leased out immediately. So now we have Skytop down. We took a parcel, not we per se, but through development, economic development. What would you call the Skytop apartments down at Skytop? Is that not economic development? I would
It's
say
going to be
yes,
big.
it is.
Yeah.
And I would say that
And then those apartments or condos that are going up on right there by 5 Mile.
Those are apartments.
Those are
I would
apartments,
say
okay.
that's economic development. So there was the empty I can't remember the name of the grocery store that is now Ortho Cincy on Beachmont. That is economic development. Yeah, it was Fresh Market. Now, it went empty, and then the market corrected itself. I mean, retail, and to be
what is
fair,
that place that just opened is called Milk Jar?
It is I would like to go there, except I'm fat, and so I don't want to go there too much. But it has.
It's not a sperm bank, is it?
No.
Okay.
just for you, Dan.
I don't know what it is.
You can
That
take
almost
your
came out
symbol
my
and go
nose.
there and make a deposit.
I don't want to go in there. What goes on in there? What is going on in there? What is that?
They have like bubble tea and pudding, and they make these. I think I read or heard or saw they make where they take the ice cream and they flash freeze it, and they use spatulas to make ice cream. You know what I mean?
Oh, like the old Cold Stone Creamery type thing.
Sort of like that, Cold Stone. Yeah, sort of like that.
So it's an ice cream shop.
It's a form of an ice cream shop.
All right. See, I mean,
and that center was, probably I would say a C or D shopping center, and through economic development, it was reworked, and it's quite a nice center now. It has a condado at one end, and not condado. What's the name of that place?
It's like an Asian food place in there. It's I forget what it's called.
Fusion.
A sushi place. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you've got a bunch of stuff on Beachmont Avenue, and Beachmont is the economic commercial corridor of Anderson Township. The rest of Anderson's bedroom.
It's the chicken capital of the world.
Shut up.
And tires. If you need chicken or tires, you're good.
You know what? Yeah, blah blah blah. But you know what? You do need. The sad thing is, you do need chicken and tires, apparently.
But the person that asked the question, I mean, he brings something. He brings a great point. He said the people who are choosing areas to open new businesses don't pick Anderson typically, and people travel out of Anderson because we have chicken and tire places.
Well, wait, hold on. What? Do you give me an example of that? What business are you talking?
Well, what about Coney Island?
I'm waiting.
Is Coney Island partly in Anderson
my
Township?
point is, you can't say I just named for you.
I'm the mediator between.
I'm not yelling at you, and I'm not yelling at him. I'm just saying sometimes
you shut your mouth, Andrew.
No, but my point is this: I just named for you 3 new businesses that are opening up on Beachmont Avenue. Well, obviously those businesses chose to open in Anderson Township.
Sure.
Over Eastgate for some reason. Now, I don't know, that blanket statement that businesses are choosing not to locate in Anderson and would locate in Eastgate depends on, A, how much space you need. Where do we have if you needed a 20,000 square foot footprint, where are you going to find that in Anderson Township? You're probably not.
No,
You
you're
have
right.
to go to
You're
Eastgate.
right.
Maybe over there where the orphanage
fair,
used to be.
As a former business owner on Anderson in Beachmont in Anderson Township, the rents are significantly cheaper in Eastgate than they are in Anderson. So it's all economics. Is
Sure.
my point.
No,
I mean, it's easy to say that. Now, do I wish that we had a little more diversity of food choice? Yeah. I mean, I was hoping that my center would have been redeveloped into a Panda Express, and I'd be pushing 450 pounds right now. But
and your MSG count would be through the fucking roof.
You know what? That is a preservative, and I love MSG. As a matter of fact, I'm about to go have a double helping of MSNG. But the point of the matter
It's like
is
Louis Anderson. You eat like elephant. You eat too much MSG.
the thing is, where would you, if you had to put a business that and that employed 100 people and required a pretty big footprint? We don't have. You're right. We don't have that space in Anderson. Because we're locked in, we're developed out. So they would naturally have to go to Eastgate where there's that land there and the vacant land that you could do that. You mentioned Coney Island. Look, that Coney Island deal, I'm glad you brought it up. That Coney Island deal upset me from multiple levels. No disrespect to the Symphony, but they have not been a good neighbor to Anderson Township.
Yep.
Now, Jason, you understand, and I think the office for Riverbend was located in Anderson, or for Coney Island. And if they called 911 during a concert, someone had an event, depending on where the call was made and placed, Cincinnati might get the call or Anderson Township might get the call. We got a lot of calls to run down there for EMS runs.
Yeah, I used to be a paramedic at Riverbend, so yeah, I know that very
okay.
Very
so
well.
you can attest the fact that there are medical events that take place during the concerts, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, here's the problem. The Symphony's tax exempt. They pay 0 property taxes. 0. So they don't necessarily support the infrastructure that is necessary to run the venue that they have. There's no mechanism for us to recoup those costs that we extend down there. And the one place that was paying property taxes, now the lion's share of it did go to schools, and it actually went to Cincinnati Public Schools because of a vote by the people down there in that area. That Coney Island was paying, I forget the number, but it was a fairly decent number to Cincinnati Public Schools. Cincinnati Public Schools is going to lose the income from Coney Island property taxes. Anderson will lose some too, but not nearly as much as the school taxes are. So I don't like the fact, and then Riverbend, the Symphony, turns around and uses a for-profit entity like Ticketmaster and some others, and they make good money down there. So my point is that you take a parcel of land, whether it be Riverbend or Beach Acres, which was purchased by our park board in a really stupid maneuver, in my personal mind. And then you take that land.
Podcast.
Well, but you take that land permanently off the tax rolls and you put it in tax exempt status. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the caller asked, where would a parcel? I tell you where a business could have gone on Beachmont Avenue at Beach Acres.
Yeah.
But the park board went and purchased it took it out of the public market, and now it's in quasi, tax exempt status with a park board that has literally more land than they know what to develop, and now they have the money, and I guess they'll put pickleball courts in all over the place. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but my point is, I don't think there ever could have been an argument that Anderson Township didn't have enough parkland. Yet look at the direction we've gone in through the voters and through the park board.
Well, I think it'd be fair to say Beach Acres is probably the most valuable parcel of land in Anderson Township. I would venture to say
it's one. I mean, it's it's not, yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at. And you know what? I think I posted this the other day. So Jason, you probably have to look it up. But so the Symphony purchased 110 acres of riverbed for, what was the number? $8 million or something like that. And then your park board purchased 17 acres for like 3.5 or some number. It was like, whoa. I mean, if you look at the amount of money spent, you're like,
completely
out of balance, out of whack. So, I mean, either somebody woefully underpaid or somebody woefully overpaid, and I'll let the public make their judgment on that one. But, but the voters spoke. So the voters decided. I tried to get the word out there, and hopefully the people would have lobbied and voted against the park levy to purchase beach acres, but they didn't chose to go that route. And it was close, but close doesn't really count. So we are where we are now, and we'll deal with the consequences. But you asked me, the caller asked a valid question: where can people go? Well, we had some land that was able and primed to be a quote unquote semi-commercial development, right? Some acreage in the heart of Anderson on Beachmont Avenue. And that's been snapped up now and is now going to be in perpetuity a park.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Well, we're going to.
Now, I don't think you'll see Eastgate made into a park. I don't think you're going to see
not likely.
Eastgate Mall turned into a park. I think they're going to redevelop that and put it out as commercial space.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Well, Andrew, we're gonna dial it down, but I appreciate you coming on, my man. It's always fun. I don't care what Rob says. It's always fun when you're on.
Well, you know what?
You get the chats rolling.
It's definitely stimulating.
I knew he'd have to take this down to his level.
Absolutely.
Andrew, thank you, brother.
I appreciate. Hey, listen, guys, thanks. I am actually going to go have some Chinese now, so I do appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, have you been to that Mongolian barbecue yet? Yummy Bowl?
Of course I have. What's wrong with you?
The place is amazing. I love that place.
Have you seen me? Does it look like I missed a meal?
Andrew,
thanks, brother.
Thanks, dude.
See you guys.
See you.
There you go. Andrew Pappas, ladies and gentlemen. We are very fortunate to have that guy at our beck and call and have him on the podcast.
Sometimes fortunate, sometimes unfortunate, but it happens either way. Not doing our typical ad reads only because Rob had most of them.
I was thinking about that during the podcast.
That's why I threw banners. I threw banners up so that way you could at least see the Varner Foundation, Ohio Valley Productions.
We'll do double the next time.
Yeah, we'll double it up.
Just to make good.
But to end this one, I'm going to end it. And all I want to say, and I'm hoping Rob is still on. I don't know that he is, but I just hope that Rob didn't overdose on the Blue Chew. And what I'm hoping is the fact that they manscaped Rob.
Oh.